All right, so I'm going to film this before work because I ran out of time this morning. Lost like 30 minutes of video and then 10 more minutes of video because my iPhone storage filled up. But what I wanted to talk about today was the framework or just the approach I took when I was trying to switch careers. At the time, back in 2017, probably around, I want to say August, when I took a job packing boxes at Amazon, this was my situation. I was broke. I had no savings. I was willing to take any job that paid me more than the job I currently had. I was at risk of not graduating college. At the time, my college major was Spanish with education licensure credits. So I was supposed to, the plan was originally for me to graduate in 2 more semesters to become a high school Spanish teacher. And at this point in August 2017, I had just come back from a summer camp counselor job at a dual language immersion program in Minnesota. And I had found out that the classroom management component of teaching was of zero appeal to me. In fact, it gave me a lot of anxiety. And I just decided right then and there that if I went into teaching, I was going to be miserable. So I had negotiated with my university around this time to just cut the cord on the teaching license so that I could save 1 semester, which would be, a savings of $4,800. And having no money at the time made the goal less audacious for me to have to save up $4,800 in order to finish my degree and actually get my bachelor's. So having figured out, having sorted out my graduation plan down to 1 semester, I had to figure out a different career path because, sure, I had Spanish skills, but it wasn't good enough for a translator role. I would need more vocabulary and more area knowledge and exposure to the language so that I could give high-quality translations in a niche, and that was really of no interest to me at the time. I also couldn't teach if I didn't have a teaching license, which was kind of my way of burning the boats. If you've ever heard of burning the boats, it's just, if you haven't heard of it, it just means getting rid of all other options except the one that you choose to go forward with so that you can't back out. And, it forces you to get really focused on what you're trying to do. So from this standpoint, broke, working entry-level jobs with no monetizable skills, I realized I needed some monetizable skills. I needed a new career path. And so I sat down with myself and I on a piece of paper, I drew a line. I had 2 columns. In one column, I had strengths. And in that column, I put things like classes I was good at in school, skills I know I already have and have shown excellence in, like learning languages or parkour or violin performance, whatever. Just anything that I can use to, even writing abilities, math, English, Spanish. So things like that, academic abilities, soft skill strengths, like my communication style, stuff like that. And then in the other column, I put interests. And interests was just a list of my hobbies, a list of things that I thought were cool, but even if I didn't know much about them. And yeah, I guess that was the first step. And the second step was going on Google and typing in what jobs can I get that pay at least $40,000 a year, or high-paying entry-level jobs for people without bachelor's degrees. Because I wanted to assume that I wasn't going to finish college, because if I had to wait until I finished college to start a new path, I'd be back moved in with my parents, and my parents and I don't have a great relationship. So I wanted to avoid that. I wanted to make sure that I could get started right now, and get myself into a job as soon as possible. So from there, I was scrolling through the list of available opportunities for high-paying jobs without a 4-year degree, or even with just an associate's degree, because that's what I had at the time. I actually explicitly ordered an associate's degree just in case I never finished my bachelor's. So now I have both. Because, spoiler alert, I did finish school. I actually used FAFSA because, as it turned out, it took so long to finish school that I turned 24 by the next year in the spring. So I qualified for independent financial aid. It wasn't based on my parents' income anymore. It was based on mine, which was jack shit, basically. I made like $10 an hour as a cashier at Walgreens. So I got like $10K in student loans, and the rest was history. Covered rent and tuition and everything. But anyways, that wasn't going to save me after I finished school. So anyways, one of the options in the list was web developer, and that looked interesting to me because when I was reading about it, I saw that it required creative problem-solving skills, logical reasoning, language stuff. So, there's like syntax and programming languages, and I thought, hey, maybe it's similar to learning a human language. Turns out it is. There's actually science to back up that. Well, like more recent studies find that if you take kids who are really good at math but not great at languages, and you take kids who are really good at languages but not great at math, the kids who are good at languages actually outperform the math kids because programming is more language centric. It's like language and logic more than it is like arithmetic. So fun fact for any language folks out there, if you're really into learning languages, maybe try programming if you haven't given it a shot yet. But I'm going down a rabbit hole here. So I started looking around for free learning resources, and I found out that Coursera has some courses that I could kind of dip my toes in and try out basic web development. I could try out Python programming. Just kind of get a feel for what's interesting to me. And eventually, I found Free Code Camp that December, and it turned out to be a really good resource. So I went with that one, and I completed like 3 certificates on there. They have an excellent curriculum. It's great for beginners who have zero exposure to programming previously. Like I learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript on there. I learned some React as well, but to be honest, I went off their platform over to Scrimba because I found their React course to be a lot more engaging and easier to learn from. But so yeah, to sum up this whole video, what I did was just take a personal inventory, just take a hard look at myself, what are my strengths, what are my interests, and then, keeping in mind my weaknesses and the things I don't like as well once I'm starting to assess a job option like web developer, but then having a way to narrow down my criteria, what do I really want out of this? And for me, it was money, and it was basic job satisfaction. I didn't want to hate my job because I knew that if I hated my job, I'd be burned out and looking for another one in a year, because that was my pattern. I was a big job hopper. So take personal inventory, narrow down your criteria for the minimum viable job that you'd be willing to go after. And then, that includes salary expectations and, working conditions, whatever. And then from there, just go search until you find something. And then, of course, pick something, and then lay out a roadmap for yourself. I laid out, I looked on job postings for web developer roles, and I saw what was consistent. I saw that there were a certain set of skills that were repeated across every single job posting, and so I made a plan to learn each and every one of them. And I looked at ways, and people like me who are self-taught advertise themselves to businesses to like look like a good candidate. And I can go into that in another video about how to market yourself when you're trying to go into an entirely different field, because career switching is a very, very big can of worms to open. But yeah, this is the framework that I used, and it worked very well for me. So I recommend giving it a try if you're completely lost and you have no idea what you want to do next, but you know that you want to change what you're doing now. So that's all for today. I think tomorrow I'll go into how to market yourself as a self-taught developer. So yeah, or I might go into how I eventually got to my first coding job. But this is how I found web development in the first place, and ultimately I think web development skills, they led me to where I'm at now. They kind of kickstarted the journey. They didn't end up being the final destination, but yeah, I'll talk more about that tomorrow. All right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like the content. Leave a comment in the, leave a comment below if you have ideas for other videos you want to see from me, and peace.